I have been buying the cheapest instruments on the internet for the past year. So today we're gonna be looking at the top 5 best.
Oh my gosh, it might actually work for 129 bucks.
And the top 5 worst cheapo instruments. But before I start, let's go through a little disclaimer here. I'm not advocating for you to purchase any of these instruments. Just because an instrument worked for me does not necessarily mean that the instrument is going to work for you. And getting any of the cheapo instruments is basically like buying a lottery ticket. And for those of you who are actually going to be trying to buy your first instrument, I am planning on starting an online learning platform for people just like you. I'm going to be linking a form that you can fill out. I'll be using that form to get some feedback so that I can build the best platform possible to help you to learn an instrument. And when I do actually launch that platform, you will be guaranteed to be grandfathered into the cheapest price available. But that's not why we're here today. We are going to be dumpster diving into the cheapest realms of the internet to see if we can find anything usable at all, and it just so happens that I have. But before we get to the good stuff, let's start with the number 5 worst instrument. This is the 5th worst instrument I have found. Here's the deal with this thing. It was so close to being on my list of good instruments.
I'm like mad about it.
I even felt kind of guilty putting it on the list of bad ones to begin with, but I had to because out of the box after purchasing this thing, it would not play, period.
Let's try my open G. Good start.
Did not play. This is obviously a clarinet. It is the Jamison clarinet. I don't think that they actually make this thing anymore, which is kind of unfortunate because I mean, it's pretty. And the only thing that I had wrong with it was the mouthpiece was totally unplayable. So what you'll see here is a different mouthpiece. This is not the one that came with it. I'm pretty sure I like burned that thing or something, but this is what you almost could have had for $60. If I would have taken this thing out of the box for $60 and it would have played just like that with the mouthpiece that actually came with it,
Their mouthpiece is...
this thing would have been very high on the awesome list. But the thing is, any new person purchasing this would not be able to play it, and they would think that it was probably just them being really bad. So it's such a shame that this dang instrument came with such a bad mouthpiece.
This mouthpiece.
The good news is that if you do want to get a cheapo clarinet, you can go out and buy one and then just buy a new mouthpiece for it and you'll probably be good. On to the 5th best cheapo. We have the flute. This is the Cecilio flute. Cecilio makes a lot of the cheapest instruments. The flute is no exception. This one's kind of weird because I got it for $50 and I got it for $25. So if you get really lucky, you can hit a sale. The reason why this is only number 5 and it's not actually lower is because the $50 one that I bought had a screw that had to be loosened. Otherwise it wasn't playing correctly. As a beginner, you're going to get that instrument and you're not going to know how to fix it. And then the instrument's going to be really bad. Now, for someone like me who kind of knows how to repair an instrument,
Okay, I fixed it.
all I needed to do was loosen that screw and now it becomes a perfectly usable flute. The funny thing is, the $25 version of this flute that I got was 100% awesome out of the box. It's so good, it's so good, $25, man. So for $25, that thing is like, whoa, that would have been number 1, except the $50 one pulls it down. Here is the $25 flute. Next up, the 4th worst instrument. Bum, bum. This one's kind of weird because I do like this instrument.
First thoughts on this thing? Wow, man.
This is my plastic trombone. It's a Tromba Pro trombone. I got this bad boy for $65, which is like a ridiculous deal for a trombone. As you can see, I had my students actually graffiti this thing, which I think is a really cool use of a crazy cheap instrument. So it makes a great decoration, but it is on the 4th worst list because it has started to fall apart on me. The lock that actually holds the slide in has kind of broke. I'm trying to show you. So if you can look here, this little plastic turny piece, that guy right there is kind of snapped. So you gotta get it just perfectly on there or it doesn't lock, period, which is really unfortunate. See, I kind of got it there, but then it kind of came out anyways. But for $65, it's still not pretty bad. The other thing about the old plastic trombone is that the slide is kind of noisy. Yeah, it's definitely got that squeaky sound. And it just doesn't sound quite as good as a brass one. So just know what you're getting in for. So I would still recommend this thing if you wanted like a practice tool or something, but I wouldn't recommend it for your main instrument. The other thing that's not great about the trombone that does kind of hold it back a little bit in my opinion is that it came with a really bad case. This is not gonna be the most protective thing in the world. And I know it's plastic, but a little bit of a harder case would have been nice. But for 65 bucks, I mean. On to the fourth best instrument. We have the cheapo trumpet. So this is the Mendini by Cecilio trumpet. I don't know why they name their brass stuff Mendini or whatever they do. It's Cecilio again, but Mendini. Maybe it makes it sound fancier. Only number 4 on the list, and I say number 4 because I still like it. Like, this is a great instrument, and I would totally recommend it. But there's a couple things holding it back from being higher on the list. One is that the valves don't have the best action. It's kind of scratchy, and I don't like it. And this one feels heavy. Yeah, I'm not, it is what it is. It's 60 bucks, you know? Even oiled, they're not like the fastest things in the world. I mean, they're coming up pretty good. Another thing that keeps it from being like the most fantastical instrument in the world, this lock here likes to not actually hold on to the key. So it'll like slip as I'm using this, which is kind of a bummer. Now I did sort of fix that by like taking this little screw here and just like absolutely cranking it as hard as I could, but that shouldn't be necessary. And then lastly, while I'm playing it, it just doesn't feel as confident to me as my old Yamaha does. Once in a while I'll miss a note or something and I'm just like, I wonder if that was the instrument or if that was me. It was probably me. I'm not a fantastic trumpet player. Nailed it. Now, as an honorable mention here quick, I did get this cheap plastic trumpet. This thing was $70, which makes it actually more expensive than the brass trumpet. That's part of the reason why this isn't on the list for either end of it. It's not really a bad instrument, but it's not a good instrument either. It's just a little worse than that metal trumpet in basically every way. Doesn't sound as good, valves don't work as nice, and it's just not as nice to play. I mean, if you can get it cheap enough, I guess. Going to the third worst instrument on our list, Slade Piccolo. If you saw that video, you saw me futzing around for about 30 minutes trying to figure out why it wasn't playing very well. I'm gonna ruin this freaking pad.
You turn it into a lamp.
And it turns out that they put too much glue on one of the thumb pieces here, which means that the pad went down too far, which made another pad not come down far enough, which makes a bunch of air fall through, and then the instrument just doesn't work. So we took all the glue out. That's what we look like now without the glue. You'll see and notice that the one that is lower now is actually the one that was higher before. This is one of those instruments that out of the box was not playable and needed repair, which means that even though this was only $53, which is super cheap for a piccolo, you're going to need to be spending extra money on repair, which is so, yeah, I know it sucks. You'll see my beautiful workaround here in that little piece of paper there to give it a little bit more juice to push down. And then when you push that down, now it's good. It's good, just like they intended, right? So go ahead and try it. As long as we don't lose this little piece of paper in here, it's gonna play great.
We'll find a more permanent solution to that.
Like glue.
Like
for the paper.
Paper.
Yay, paper. That is something you should not have to do. The other thing holding it back is that it's a piccolo, and piccolos sound really high and like, ouch. Oh my God, that's so loud. But a little bit of points in its favor. It came with a really cool looking case. Look at that thing. Wow! And number 3 for the best instrument is the cornet. This is the Jinyin cornet, and this bad boy was $59. That does make it cheaper than the trumpet, which is part of the reason why it's ahead of it in the list. Now, right off the board, the build quality of this thing is really good. It feels pretty good, man. Valves seem to be working all right for me not having done anything to it yet so far. It feels great in the hand. It feels great to play. It's just an all-around good instrument. Really, the only thing about the build that kind of like makes me question it a little bit is this pinky right here. This little guy is kind of weird and I don't like it, but that's such a minor thing for a $59 instrument. Valves work, sounds good, plays pretty good, and most importantly, didn't hurt my wallet. It feels a little bit more open to play than the trumpet. The trumpet feels kind of stuffy in comparison. It's basically neck and neck with the trumpet for everything else, and it ekes it out just because it's a little cheaper and it has maybe a little less problems. I can't get it today. That's not a thing. Now we're getting to it. The second worst instrument. Here is my Slade tenor saxophone. If you watched that video, I was so excited to get a tenor saxophone for so cheap, and it was ridiculously cheap. I got this thing for only $138. And there's also a story behind it. You can go watch the video to get all of the details, but here's the short version of it. It would not play out of the box. Made a sound. Good start. Dang it. Ugh. Now, you might be saying, well, Chase, you just played those notes right now. Well, yes, I did. But that was after sending it to my repair person twice. So I contacted Temu. The funny thing is they offered me a refund, which is not what I wanted. So after telling them that I didn't want to send it back and get a refund, I just wanted a little bit of support, they asked me whether I wanted to keep the instrument and get a refund. Yeah, sure. So I essentially got this tenor saxophone for free, which makes you think, you know, best instrument because it was free, right? Except I had to get it repaired twice, and that does cost money. Don't buy this one because I can't get the notes to work, and it was a pain in the butt. And my repair tech guy couldn't get all the notes to work. I tried, man. I tried. And I spent like hours trying to get this thing fixed myself, which was probably a bad idea. Even the case on this tenor saxophone kind of stinks. Immediately when I got this thing, the zippers were already broken. I didn't break them, they came broken. It wasn't even an easy fix. It wasn't like you could use a paper clip and like pull it in there because this part of it actually broke. What my repair technician did is he put a string on like a bunch of super glue and he put it on here. You can zip it well. Unzipping it is kind of a pain and you have to like hold the edges. Unfortunately, he said he's had to do this a lot. So these zippers on these cheap instruments are just like terrible, I guess. Yeah, I mean, this thing actually has pretty good tone. Imagine if it was played by somebody who's better than me, which is lots of people. And now we come to the second best instrument on our list. Now we're getting to the good stuff. Here is the Jin Yin baritone. I got this thing for $253. The valves feel fantastic. I haven't oiled this thing in forever and like, that's really good. Oh no! I haven't oiled it in forever. Man, that's dry. You're embarrassing me. I put you number 2 on the list. I mean, you should oil your instruments. The other thing is, it's just absolutely built like a tank. So I wanna make sure the soldering is all good. Oh, I think we're good. Man, this thing feels sturdy. Just a big old hunk of metal. And for a cheapo instrument, it sounds really good. I didn't know what to expect. You know, when you're spending this much money on an instrument, cheapo kind of goes out the window. Like $250 is a lot to spend for anything, unless you're getting like a jet. But $250 for a baritone is still ridiculously cheap. And to be as good of a quality one as this one, heck yeah. It's just really good. And here it is, the #1 worst instrument. I don't know why I'm smiling. I'm kind of mad about it. This may surprise some of you who watched the video. This is the Nasir Ali valve trombone. When I got this instrument, it was actually very good. Look in the bell here for a second, see if it looks dirty. It doesn't look new. I don't know if rusty is the word. Not the prettiest on the inside. It seemed like the build quality was okay. The second valve was giving me issues. And not only giving me issues, but it does not still feel as good as the other two. It actually sounds okay, like a valve trombone should. Comparing it to my other trombones, this one just doesn't sound to me quite as nice. It feels a little muffled, like a little muted. It doesn't push the sound forward as much. It sounds basically like a stuffier trombone, which is kind of what you'd expect a valve trombone to sound like. But if there was any one instrument on this list that's gonna make the naysayers of cheap instruments go, ha ha, I told you so, it's gonna be this one because it did not last weeks. I bought this thing for $174, which for like such a specialty instrument, that's kind of like stupidly cheap. But unsurprisingly, it seems to be built stupidly cheap too. The first problem here, you'll notice I fixed with some sweet zip tie edge here. This part is totally unsoldered. If I take the zip ties off and pull on it, it completely comes apart, which is not what you want. And if that wasn't bad enough, this part down here has actually become unsoldered. As I'm playing it, the instrument kind of twists and this part falls down. And that is a huge pain in the butt, which makes this instrument totally unplayable in any real sort of situation. Could I repair those things? Yes. Should I have to on a new instrument? Absolutely not. Now I'm gonna try to play it a little bit. We'll see if the bell actually falls down on me while I do it. For an instrument like this, you think the valves would be the first thing to go. The valves are doing okay. The darn thing is just falling apart on me. And unsurprisingly, this is the valve trombone's case, which is also falling apart on me. If you look here, some of the dang screws are falling off. So like this thing that actually holds the darn thing together, dying on me. Why? Why are you doing that? Zipper works good. Look, here's another screw. I'm gonna poke myself with this dang thing. Bad case. Before we get to the number one instrument, I have one more honorable mention, and that is my soprano saxophone. Now, the reason why the soprano saxophone is not on the list proper is because it did not have a brand. I can't actually recommend an instrument that I can't show you how to find. Here's the highlights of this bad boy. Number one, it came with my favorite saxophone strap out of any of my instruments.
Fancy, man. Fancy.
That feels nice. That's like leather. Ah, that is classy. Man, did I order the wrong horn? This is too nice. And it locks. So this thing was $135, and you know what? It works great.
So there you go, the X saxophone from AliExpress.
So yeah, if you're looking into a cheap soprano saxophone, they do exist. Good luck finding one, I guess. Now here we go. The number one best cheap instrument. If you made it this far in the video, thank you very much. Make sure you go down and you fill out that form. I would love to be your band director. But here it is, the Mendini alto saxophone. Now, this was definitely not one of the cheapest instruments at $129, but that's probably one of the cheapest alto saxophone prices that has ever been on the internet for a new instrument. As you can see, I got the great looking purple and gold colors, which is a shame because I don't think you can get this color anymore. That makes this thing even extra special. The reason why it was probably so cheap is because nobody's buying crazy purple color. But you know, if you're gonna save like $150 on an instrument or something because of a crazy purple color, the purple color's fine. You know, make a statement, be unique. Not only is this the number one most used instrument I've had out of this bunch, but it just works. It works, it just works. Do you know how important that is for an instrument like this? It just works. This one works. I have absolutely put this thing through the ringer. I've taken it to pep band games, I've thrown it at students if they've forgotten an instrument. And this thing probably has some war stories it could tell just after the first year, and it still works like the day I got it. And it was such a good price. It's just stinking good, man. It's just stinking good. It's good. It's a good instrument. Now, if you're curious about any of the instruments on this list, I did make a dedicated video for every single one, so be sure to go check out those videos if you wanted more. Go down in the link in the description if you want to see any of the instruments, and if you want to become part of the Mad Music Band, where I am your band director, make sure you go down and fill out that form. Thanks. I bet I'm the first person in existence to ever play a plastic trumpet and and a soprano sax at the same time.